Dear gentlemen and ladies, it is 2009's day of Russian war against Ukraine. My name is Andriy Sevchenko, and on behalf of Mediacentru Ukraine Lviv team, I'm welcoming all the journalists who are talking and enlightening the whole world about our freedom, our battle of freedom. What we're talking about today is the budget of 2023, the budget of a country that is in the state of war, and we're gonna talk to Oleksandr Kava, Deputy Minister of Finance of Ukraine. Dear Alexander, let me start with the general questions. What are the differences of this budget between the previous budgets? Well, first of all, this budget, the main difference is that right now Ukraine is in the state of war with Russian Federation, and correspondingly the priorities of state budget are heading towards ensuring of defense of our country and to ensure our armed forces with all they need, and as well primary to do the social responsibilities of the country in front of the society, because we all understand the situation is not easy, and many of our citizens find this situation very difficult. That is why the state sets up the priorities of providing more finances to the defense industry, as well as ensuring of providing all these services, civilian services, to the population. And also the money will be sent to another programs, but unfortunately some of them will be declined. I took a look at the base numbers of army finances. This is approximately of 18% of the whole money. Can you tell us please, how do you plan to do to balance the budget next year? So what we are planning to do is, besides just general incoming of state budget as taxes, as well as to receive the credits and financial grants from our foreign partners. This situation is what we have after the armed aggression against Ukraine, and we have established quite a fertile cooperation with our international partners who help us both in ways of grants, credits, and as a rule, these credits have very low interest rate and for a long period, and due to this, we manage to fight the deficit of the budget. And also, we understand that economy, because of the armed aggression, have suffered a lot. Unfortunately, many enterprises were ruined as a result of the war. For example, we lost a half of the potential of the country when it comes to uh, iron production, because two iron production factories were destroyed. Also, a lot of chains of logistical chains were ruined, and correspondingly to this, the enterprises have to stop their production or reduce its volume. Also, we have some positive examples, as for example, on the contrary, those enterprises, mostly in the west of our country, have increased the volume of their production and correspondingly increased the taxes into the budget in the local budgets. But all in all, unfortunately, we lost a lot when it comes to economical and budget plan. Can you please take a look at those sectors which will be there in the area of your responsibility? So infrastructure, what we see here, we see some declining of numbers of finances here. What will be the priorities when it comes to 2023 budget? Well, first of all, this will be resurrection and refreshment of financing of infrastructure, because after the beginning of armed aggression, there were some changes into state budget of 2022, and correspondingly, some tax paragraphs were cancelled, as also those taxes for the development of infrastructure. But with time, when some of the territories came back to normal life, we had to look for sources for financing of rebuilding that destroyed infrastructure, and to ensure that that at least a road connection between the populated area will be established, because unfortunately a lot of bridges, both car bridges, wheeled vehicles bridges and railway bridges were destroyed. That made some portions of land of our countries, turn them basically into some kind of islands where it is hard to get to, and hard to get the groceries, first primary needs, building materials too. That is why in 2023 we initiated the rebuilding of a state road fund. What we also plan is for these nearest days, Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine will vote for coming back the taxes for petrol. This is mostly petrol, diesel, and LPGs. This will allow to fulfill the state road fund and correspondingly to finance the projects on rebuilding of road structures. And it means, first of all, of state level and local level importance. First of all, we are talking about bridges or roads that suffered most. Also, what we plan is to finance the fund of local infrastructure development. I'm sorry, rebuilding of local infrastructure that is approximately 19 billion hryvnias, and different establishments will be financed in order to resurrect the activity and the livability of those populated areas who suffered as a result of the war. Regarding the road fund I talked about earlier, we expect its income to be 70 billion hryvnias, and since we also will have to the taxes themselves and debts will be approximately 57 billion. So what should one look after when it comes to agrarians? How big are the potential of supporting the agrarians in Ukraine? Well, when it comes to agrarians, this is one of the key sectors of Ukrainian economy. And before that, yearly, annually, as all European countries, we used to provide 4 billion hryvnias for the direct dotations of agriculture. In 2022, because of the changes to the budget I told about on February, these benefits were cancelled. In 2023, what we plan is to begin financing of several programs, because unfortunately our agrarians have suffered too, especially in central, south, and eastern parts of our country. That is why we plan on providing 281 million hryvnias for support of local agrarian production owners. 360 millions are planned to be allocated for fulfilling the capital of partial assurance of credits in agrarian sector. These are this is a mechanism that allows to decline the interest rate for Ukrainian farm households and agrarian production owners, and financing of the development of their businesses. Besides that, we plan to carry on financial the program 579, the allowed credits. Usually we have 16 billion hryvnias allocated for this purpose. Some of this money will be allocated for compensation of the interest rate for Ukrainian farmers and household production owners. And also an innovation of this year is not of this year, but the next year, 2023, is providing of grants for business development. This will have to do mostly with the gardening and warm plantations. This will be approximately 3.4 billion hryvnias. And the last question, is this the hardest budget you have ever worked in your life during your career? Well, yes, this is the hardest budget, but also the changes into budget of 2022 were also hard. The changes that we did in February when the armed aggression started, literally within several hours, we have to completely reformat that budget accepted by Verkhovna Rada and signed by President at the end of 2021, because This is the budget planned for development. That the budgets that will significantly increase the level of life of our people, and within several hours we had to turn it into defensive budget in order to protect our country. So this was Oleksandr Kava, Deputy Minister of Finance of Ukraine. I'm thankful to you about this talk. Thank you so much, and I urge everyone